morning, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you all for being here tonight. It really means a lot for you guys to just to be here and to take time out of your schedules to hang out with us for a little bit. Catherine and Rick have definitely kind of given that intro, so I definitely want to get into some of the music. It is, I call it feel-good music with a message. I think that because we love God, I think there are a lot of people like me. I appreciate all kinds of music. I appreciate all kinds of music, so being a worshiper doesn't take that love of music away. I think that this album can connect with people who are in church every Sunday morning. As well, I feel like it's an evangelism tool to reach out to people that just aren't going to go to church. Some people just are not going to go to church, or if they go, they're going to be bored, they're going to be asleep, they may not connect with Near the Cross. But some of these songs that you guys will hear, it'll sound like something you've heard before. It's influence from here or there, but that's that bait that pulls the listener in. But every song is about a relationship with God, so I think that everybody can connect with it. So I think I'll be a worship leader for the worshiper that doesn't know he's a worshiper yet from a certain angle, because it just connects with people that may not be churchy, but they feel a connection to God and they want to nurture that. So let's get into some music.
Habits. What do you and Rick put in the sauce when you guys are writing together? Because
what kind of question is that?
yes,
I don't know how to answer that question.
How do you come up with what you guys write? I mean, you know.
Honestly, it's a very natural space. It's a very natural space. It's not forced. I'm continuing to strengthen my writing skills. I write with Rick, and he can just write very easily, but it takes me time to like get to myself and come up with lines and all of that. So, but we merge those writing gifts together, and I thank God for Rick because he knows my sound. He knows what's natural to me. So he kind of hears stuff and is like, this sound like you. This sounds like you. I think you could do that. And we begin to just put those ideas together. Or for me, if I have something in my head, he helps me complete that. He helps me complete that idea. So it just kind of works when we merge those sounds together and we think of concepts, and it's all about, we don't like sad songs, you know. We don't like those sad in the valley songs, and I know sometimes we are in the valley, but I like to celebrate God and how wonderful he is, so that helps us come up with the concepts and angles as well for the
Vintage worship is much of that. It's a song about it's songs about uplifting. It's songs about being encouraged. Every gospel song is not about downtrodden and being broken in the valley. I mean, we all have valleys, but you know, I believe that she is a voice that's going to encourage and that's going to uplift. I think Rick is only touched the surface of what he's going to do in terms of his production. I think Anita is the gateway to what I think is going to be many big things to come.
You mentioned concepts, so I'll ask this one. I said, describe how you came up with the concepts for your CDs, and you know what they embody, and then what are some of the thoughts, maybe, you know, just surrounding those whole concepts, because they seem to be working really well for you.
Thank you. I'm grateful for that. Again, I love this whole journey because it's a very authentic space. I don't have to kind of step into a person to be this artist. It's a very authentic space for me. So the concept of the album, of course, is merging, like my first album merged worship and soul music together. We just went a little deeper with this, with like an audio portrait of our influences from the 70s, 80s, and 90s in gospel as well as classic R&B. So that is the overall concept of this album. That's what it's going to sound like. That's what it's going to look like when the visual comes. The different events that we're going to do, and just kind of have people just kind of hang out in a great atmosphere. It's going to have that 70s, 80s, and 90s concept. So God gave it to us, and we're kind of running with it. We're running with it because it has a lot of color to it, and we want to fill all of that space in. So I'm excited about it.
The concept was to do a record that was that felt like what we listened to growing up. 70s, 80s, 90s music.
Yeah.
R&B and gospels, for, you know, hopefully won't offend anybody with R&B influences, but listen to a lot of old records. I have a record collection of about 1,000 records at home, and I studied them to a T to try to sonically make them sound like what I grew up listening to when I was riding around with my mom. So you're going to hear, you know, not only are you going to hear Andre Crouch influence or Winans or Hawkins influence, but you'll also hear a little bit of Eddie Kendricks and Aretha Franklin and Chaka Khan influence. I know.
Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know that.
Girl, what?
This project has been a labor of love for me and it's probably something I've invested the most of my time and effort and heart and passion into. So this is a baby to me. So
Yeah.
you know, I get a little nervous when you let people hear stuff for the first time, but I hope that this this record is a blessing to you all. That's all I really want to say. Thank y'all for coming
I
out.
do love the musicality on the CD, just the
Thank
whole
you.
arrangement. You know, this
Thank you.
the musical breaks that you don't normally get in
Right.
music today.
Right.
So, can you tell us some of the influences? I know you mentioned some outside, but just what are some of the influences?
Yeah, on my single, That's What He's Done For Me, of course, you'll hear me shout out the Thompson Community Choir. I grew up listening to them. There's also some Eddie Kendricks, Keep On Truckin' influence in that. I think influence is different than imitation. So a lot of times when we try to call it influence, it's like this person trying to do what that person does. So that's not the angle that I wanted to take with it. I just wanted to kind of fuse some of that influence in there. There's George Benson in some of those songs, like Gooder Than Good. Evelyn Champagne King and Shaka, I get like on So Gone with that strong unison chorus and pre-hook. Let me see. Everything, the one that slowed down, the first ballad, what made the second ballad on the album, it had like a little bit of Beatles feel to it in the front with the guitar that they chose to use. I love all kinds of music, so it was just all fused in there. The Hawkins harmonies, That's What He's Done has a little Andre Crouch harmony on it too. So it's just a huge picture of our musical influences, and I think it's a really cool.
It took some time.